Hello, friend. Today's not going to be a big news day. There's nothing crazy at all that happened, and I guess we shouldn't be disappointed in that. That's a good thing. But I still believe that it's summer and things usually are supposed to get hot. People are tired of being stuck inside. It's beautiful out, and it's the easiest, most flexible situation without all the snow to commit crime, basically. But I'm pretty surprised. No, we're good. It's looking good. It's looking good. It's looking quiet, man. Well, kind of quiet. Vehicles burned in 7th Island. Yes, vehicles burning. Criminal fires. No longer, how you say, quarantined. Sorry for the lack of word. No longer quarantined for Montreal, friend. It's happening in 7th Island. 7th Island, remember the North Coast Corridor? Me and you called it that. And there's plenty of towns, but the town that we call the capital for us is 7th Island. So as we speak to 7th Island, I need to give a salute to man in the middle. What's up, buddy? How you doing, pal? Good to see you, man. It's been a while, man. Always happy to see you. The guy's busy, anytime you join, where I'm glad to have you, man. Guys like him been here so long, man. The guy has helped me out for so long. I'm very grateful to you, bro. Thank you so much, man. You really didn't have to. Thank you. And Billy Gamel aussi. Billy Gamel, good evening, buddy. How are you, pal? We're just about to look into to the fires, man. The fires don't get contained in Montreal anymore. It's the season. It's the what's the word? It's the trend. There you go. It's the trend. It's the trend, friend. There you go. Yeah, I like that one. It's the trend, friend. And Chris Inslee, what's up? Good afternoon to you. Everyone's happy. It's Friday. It's summer. Everybody's free right now. Usually you don't have to work. This is it, man. Enjoy, man. And we got Will Hildebrand. What up, my man? All right, yeah. It says, all right, baby. The North is way crazier than here in the deep South. Oh yeah, Will is from the U.S. What's up, buddy? That's great. I like having everyone all around, man. Especially people from the States. Even freaking better, even better. So, criminal fire in 7th Island. I need to remind you there is a war for stupefier territories that's happening down there. So the boss of 7th Island is still on the run. The guy who used to manage the pipeline for the Hells Angels when he used to re-up from them and pay them the tax. Now he went on his own with Ice Pick. Ice Pick did get caught, but the other half is still out. Now the question is, who set up this fire and who is the victim this time? We probably will not get that answer. Unfortunately, it's too early, but one day we will. Someone's going to put all of these things together, and I think probably it will be Felix again. So where did let's just see what happened at 3:30, I guess, in the morning. They saw a vehicle burning. Well, they're not going to tell us anything more, huh? Yeah, they're not telling us anything more. Yeah, it's expected. It's expected, buddy. So there you go, man. Yeah, it's definitely did on purpose. That's all I care about. Is it an accident or no? And I did double check, so we don't waste our time. And Billy Gamel says, les feux de forêt, bro. Yes, and we got the wildfires happening, especially in BC. They got some crazy wildfires, but it's happening all around. But buildings are also being set up on fire by accident. But for us, it's the vehicles being set off that's important. I guess this is the same article, the same news story. I wanted to double check, so I got both of them. You can see here in the picture, I think the first car, it looks charred, right? Maybe not the backside, but more on the front. But you see the car in front of it, this one here, definitely looks charred. That one's definitely burnt. So it was two vehicles from this property right here. And they're giving you a picture of the area of the neighborhood. Happened on the night of Saturday to Sunday, they say. I want to see if they give us any extra details here. It's 3:30, like we read before. No, nothing extra. Nothing extra. But the pictures and the photos, man. All right. And, next one. Oh, trafficking in cain, abusing the confidence Or the trust. An ex-police officer of the SQ facing tens of accusations, I guess, for stupefier trafficking. Wow. So we actually got an SQ officer dealing in cain. The question becomes, what the hell? Which pipeline is he part of? Which one? Well, nowadays it's pretty normal. You see the tattoos, people working and everything. But the man statted up fully, See what they tell us about him. If we get any extras here.
Autre dossier maintenant, un ex-policier de la Sûreté du Québec fait face à la justice.
Oh, he says ex-officer. My bad. He's no longer officer. Probably he stopped beforehand. They didn't make him not be an officer after this. I guess it what happened. He's no longer officer and now he's in the underworld.
Relativement à plusieurs crimes allégués, notamment en matière de drogue et de stupéfiants, Kevin, il aurait notamment été impliqué dans le trafic de cocaïne.
He was implicated in trafficking of cain.
Oui, exactement. On parle d'une dizaine de chefs d'accusation contre cet ex-policier de la Sûreté du Québec. Donc oui, trafic de cocaïne, de possession de méthamphétamine.
He also had possessions of m&ms, the meth, I can't say the word.
Et de stéroïdes en vue d'en faire.
And you heard the last one, the roids.
Le trafic, d'abus de confiance,
for trafficking,
d'entrave à la justice, d'accès frauduleux.
No, wait a second. I misunderstood something. He must be still a cop. Why would they accuse him of abusing the confidence of the people? You can only abuse the trust of the people if you're a cop, right? So I guess they mean truly he was a cop. He's no longer because of all this. My bad.
À des systèmes informatiques et aussi de conduite dangereuse. Il avait été...
Wait a second. Something very, very intriguing of what he just said. Did they just accuse him inside of the accusations or the charges? They said something about using the police computers. So there's only two ways you can use the police computers for, I'm assuming. Lawful activity because you're a cop and you need to access it, or you're using it unlawfully and he's being charged for something unlawful. What does that mean? Let me just think. You gotta be kidding me. So let's jump the gun first. He did it for the Hells Angels. Let's see. Or the bikers. Let's see.
Arrêté par ses collègues le 19 mars 2024.
So he was arrested in 2024 of March, last year, basically.
Dans le cadre d'une enquête interne débutée là, en début d'année, Raymond,
So there was an internal investigation that landed on him.
Les accusations remontent à septembre 2023. Il a été...
So the criminal activities themselves, some of them in these list of charges, go back to 2023.
Congédié ensuite, évidemment, par la Sûreté du Québec.
Yes, that's it. And then he was fired.
Il aurait directement ou indirectement accédé aux services d'ordinateur à Saint-Hyacinthe, mais aussi au Mont-Tremblant, là où est-ce qu'il est allé remplacer là-bas. On le soupçonne.
Okay, so they said he's accused of accessing computers from two different municipalities. I don't know how the cop stuff works, but let's see. The interesting part is just about to come.
Pardon aussi d'avoir partagé des informations sur une enquête en cours. Je lui ai parlé.
And for having shared information, sensitive information, on an ongoing investigation. That's the key here.
Tantôt au palais de justice de Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. Il est resté muet, mais vous allez le voir, il avait un petit sourire en coin.
So he says he stayed silent in the court, but he did have a small grin, as you will see.
Bonjour, M. Gannett, Kevin Crank de TVA. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez des chefs d'accusation contre vous?
What do you think about the chiefs of accusations against you?
Est-ce que vous êtes toujours à l'emploi de la Sûreté du Québec?
Asking him a stupid question. Are you still employed by the SQ?
C'est terminé.
Or is finished? You're jerks,
Miguel
man.
Gwenet, vous
Yeah, these guys are jerks.
l'avez vu, n'a pas voulu commenter.
You see, he did not want to comment.
Il est libéré d'ici son procès. Il a payé une caution de 5 000 $.
He paid a bail of $5,000.
Impossible pour lui de communiquer avec des gens qui sont liés à la vente de la drogue.
And from now on, he will not be allowed to communicate with people who are involved in selling stupefires.
Et aussi, il doit respecter un couvre-feu. Il va
He got to have a curfew he has to
devoir
respect.
revenir devant le tribunal le 25 septembre
So he'll
prochain.
appear back in court again.
Merci,
In,
Kevin.
I think it's 25 September, I think he said, or whatever. Whether it's September or January, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
I want to know what's this in that, why he accessed that computer to share information he was not allowed on another investigation. Maybe it had nothing to do with himself. But who was he sharing it to? All I have is cain trafficking, m&ms, that's two activities of the bikers, and the roids. You know the roids, they all some of them are known to use roids. No secret. They want to feel strong so they can be intimidating. But everything here, but not a single mention of bikers in it. I wonder why. Is it just because there ain't? Has nothing to do with it? But then what was that about sharing, about accessing information in order to share it to someone? You know what I'm saying? That's highly suspicious for me. I'm not just buying it that he went and he checked that ongoing investigation information to share it with his cousin, just like that, just for fun. Something else. Just higher powers who were friends with Mr. Guenette Grégoire here. All right, but I don't know why they're stopping here, you know. The juicy part needs to be said. For who did he do it for? All right, next story. And, oh, by the way, I said Pollock says checking in from London. I guess you're saying London, Ontario, right? Shout out to London, Ontario. Shout out to Daniel Gould, Marcel Mathers as well. Sorry, buddy, I didn't see you. And Daniel Gould and Triple N. Okay, next story. A career trafficker was laundering money for organized crime through his restaurant in Farnham. So the government bodies that'll give you the license for being able to serve alcohol, they denied his permit. It's to do that, basically, right here. So here you have him, somewhere in a suburb, I guess. You got the sleeve tattoos. You got the obligatory, either it's going to be a ring earring or it's going to be a facial piercing like this. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah, of course, it would not be complete unless we had what looks like death pictures on his forearm, such as the gargoyle wings or angel of death, I guess. And I can't really tell, but this looks like death skulls, maybe. But one thing's for sure, it's not Walt Disney cartoons all over his arm. You know what I'm saying? What is Mr. Martin Lagacé doing here? Oh, yeah, he said he was a career trafficker of stupefires. So he owns a restaurant, I guess. He got his permit refused. We don't really care too much about that. We just want some background information so we can learn something. He's from Estrie. Okay. Look, there's a related article. They're saying hotel in Boucherville pinched for having welcomed a big party of the Hells Angels. I believe we read that a year ago or two. No, mise à jour. No, I did not read this one. I do recall in Boucherville, the cops were surveilling and they showed us some pictures. And that's the only story in Boucherville that I had. That's the South Shore. But it was not in April 2025. That's impossible. There you go. Yeah, now it makes more sense. You see, it was March 2023. Yes, we covered that story. This picture does ring bells for me. So we did read that story originally, but it looks like there was a new story that was cast in 2025. I definitely did not see that with you. But we did see these pictures. I do not recall exactly what it's about. I just know that they were the obvious. The cops found out that they were having parties or gatherings inside of this hotel, and Hotel Imperia, 4th March 2023. Okay, so far so good. But what does that have to do with Mr. Because they linked this news. They're saying it's linked to this story we're reading right here, which makes it more interesting. But I don't want to know what's this link. Why link this? Was he one of the party goers, or was this the bar itself? Because he's from Estrie, so I'm a little bit confused here. Perhaps I don't know. No, he doesn't. I don't think he has to do with this hotel. Let's just read. We'll find out. Yeah, some of it is completely unlinked. No way. Yeah. Because look, they're even linking the story about the girl. Remember, we read this like a month or two ago. She was dealing cane, and I think she's a girlfriend or something in the pipeline of rolling 60s Crips. So why they link that story to this one? So it could be just a bunch of far-fetched stuff here. Let's just keep reading. Back to this guy. This is just a bunch of government talk. For they need to control permits, blah blah blah. We know about that. Yeah, we might have to skip this. They're not going to give us anything more than that. Oh, here, good. Some background. That's what you want. Between 1998 and 2018, so that's about, was it 18 plus 2, so about 20 years time frame. Between 1998 to 2018, he was condemned for a total of 13 years in the pen for stupefyers. We suspected him at a certain point to control the trafficking of stupefire in the area of Abitibi, Témiscamingue. So I guess he controlled stupefire trafficking in that area. And then they're just saying that his rap sheet shows that he has a long, past with the underworld. It's not just, like a minor mistake. Some of us, whatever, we were younger. You're young, you do stupid stuff, or sometimes you know what I'm saying, and it's like one-off thing. They're saying it's no one-off thing with this man. Money laundering and debts. Now, a reliable source has confided to the SQ, the police, Lagacé had linked himself to the sales of stupefyers, M&ms, in the area of Mont-Tremblant and Mont-Laurier. Now, that's pretty interesting. Those who have no clue, they're from anywhere. I like to give you some bits of fun info, Mont-Tremblant is north of Montreal, but pretty much, a lot north. Not too much, but still, still a long ways. It's a tourist destination. I think you can go skiing there. It's summertime, of course, not in the summertime. There's other activities there, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's one of our tourist places. If someone comes to Quebec and he goes like, "Yo, where should I go?" You don't want to give him the city of Quebec. You don't want to give him cities. You want to give him, like far off places, tourist places. That's one spot that you'd want to send that guy out there. It's freaking amazing. That's Mont-Tremblant. So a tourist area, far away in the mountains type of place, suburbish. You know what I mean? Old school, has that old school feeling. So this guy was. He was selling stupefyers over there, Probably not, maybe not a low-level dealer, maybe a controller of the pipeline. Wholesaler, who knows? So right now we have no clue. But heavy past like that, I doubt that he's sitting in the street corner on Friday night and trying to peddle small bags. You know what I mean? We could also note that the man of 56 years of age possessed a fire tool, and he has access to fire tools in the sector of Oka. Again, another suburby place in the, how you say, campagne? I don't know how you say this, man. I forget. I wish I could tell you. It never comes up. I know the word. I just, on the spot, I can't remember. Now, let's look at his rap sheet. Condemned for stupefier, Mr. Martin Lagacé. 1998, he gets 5 years and 6 months for importation of cain. So you think this guy's peddling on the streets of Mont-Tremblant? Of course he's not. He's got he's got a crew. He's got a team. He's up higher up in there. 1998. So he got importation of cain. 2006. 2 years of detention for production of substances. So now we're probably talking about the M&ms variety, and also for warehousing fire tools. In 2014, he got 26 months of detention for possessing for trafficking purposes. Now this one's not clear. It's cain. It's what? The other one for the production, I'm leaning more on M&ms. Then you got 2018. You got 41 months of detention again. Again, possession, trafficking, stupefires. The one common denominator is stupefires. Yes, Martin Lagacé has often done business with organized crime, with his girlfriend or wife, and often accompanied by his children, says the tribunal. And also he's got money laundering. Look at that, money laundering for the account of the bikers, the outlaw variety. Okay, and I guess that's his restaurant or bar or whatever. It's called the Dextartar. Weird name. But they're saying this was a designated area for transactions of stupefires, says the SQ. Now, his financial statements also are mysterious or questionable, they say, because he listed or he affirmed that he has no sources of financing used for opening that restaurant. And he says, I don't know, he accumulated $50,000 of debts. I don't know. We're going to skip this part. It's not too interesting. During his testimony, he denies getting rich off criminality, saying that his monthly income from business income, gross, for his restaurant varies between $11,000 to $12,000 per month. So that's revenue, I guess. All right, we're gonna skip. Yeah, everything else it really doesn't matter. All right, so we learned a little bit. You got people that look like this, and they're involved with bikers. They got tons of charges, but the bikers, they love the M&ms, man. They love cain, they love M&ms, and they need to launder money, basically. All right, next. No, that's the same story I think that we had. So that restaurant, yeah, that's the story of the previous. I actually had it here. Funny, yeah. That same the same hotel, whatever we talked about, the bar in there. They're just saying that they got a sanction against them for that party we talked about a year or two ago, where the South chapter of the Hells Angels, I guess, came to celebrate. We're not gonna revisit this. Just the restaurant, more legalese, man. All right, next, the main story that's interesting, man. This is why we're here right now for tonight. Remember this guy? We had the storyline was he was part of the BFM, and what we learned, I believe that there was a point where his life was in danger. There was a hit on him. The cops were getting worried because I don't remember exactly the details, but his mother, if I'm not wrong, his mother even got killed. She was not the intended target, but she did get killed. And then, I don't know, he was released by the cops, whatever. He came back home, and the cops were really worried. They were like, you know what, they're coming for him, and he's a danger to the public, and they charged him with a bunch of stuff to try to get him out of the neighborhood. That's as far as I can remember. Let's see if my memory was not too bad, but we're getting an update on that story. A close friend of BFM condemned for 7 years of detention. He would have sold 3 semi-automatics to a double agent. All right. If that's the story, we don't need to read more, man. I just want to get extra details for between the 27th of November 2024 to January 14, 2025. A double agent organized with the suspect 6 transactions of cain, of M&ms, and quantities that were initially around 3.5 grams. But they quickly increased to reach 125 gram transactions. Of cain or M&ms, I got no clue, They don't really say. It's at that moment that the officers the infiltration officers start to talk about fire tools, asking Morin if he's capable of procuring them. Now, the photos are not loading. I got no idea why. The quote here is, good for an army, or good enough for an army. 2 days later, the accused confirms to his client, so the double agent, that he would be able to furnish him with a machine gun, rounds, and chargers. He then sends him pictures of a semi-auto, and then the guy tells the cop, "You'll be good. You'll be good as an army." Then the infiltration agent would go pick it up in Rivière-du-Loup at a home of an accomplice of Jeffrey Morin, Maxime Lagacé. Man, his names sound so familiar. I feel like we just read some guy's name was, what was his name? Just want to double check. It's so confusing. Okay, see how close this is? Martin Lagacé. I told you, man. This is a Maxime. It's so damn close. It's not him. But it wouldn't have made sense. Let's keep going. So the accomplice, he tries to sell the machine gun to the officer. Then he sends the officer to his friend's house, whose friend is maybe holding it, right? The stash. At his return to Quebec, the officer goes to meet Morin in person in order to give him a commission of $1,000 of money for the sale. A second transaction, this time for 2 tools and semi-autos, would have occurred in the same fashion the following day. A commission, this time of $2,600, would have been given to the hands of Morin. In total, the delinquent would have organized the traffic of 3 semi-autos with 6 chargers, high capacity, prohibited, and approximately 240 rounds. He was arrested on January 29th, 2025 by the officers when they hit his apartment in Saint-Augustin-des-Morts. Sorry, I was trying to read the next end of the groupe tactique. And then we got fact to note. In this affair, Jeffrey Morin fact to note. In this affair, Jeffrey Morin himself they're saying I'm not sure what they mean here. The suspect would have communicated at this moment in an anonymous way on the application Signal. So they're using Signal in order to communicate, because the rumor is Signal has not a rumor, but it's well known. Well, they think, everyone thinks Signal is encrypted, it's safe, it's unbreakable, and they think they can communicate through this, and that the cops will never be able to read their messages. Now, the problem is when you're actually messaging a cop, none of all of that goes out the window, man. So the suspect communicated at that moment in an anonymous way through the application Signal. On the 16th of December 2024, he informed his client that there was a delay in the delivery because of the death of his mother. So there you go. My memory is not too bad. His mother died. I assure you she didn't die from cancer. Pretty certain she got murdered. Hence, in the hours preceding it, the officers were called to go intervene in the apartment of Jennifer Morin, I guess that's his mother, who was found without life after being a victim of a homicide that has not been solved till this day. In this fashion, the officers made the first identification of Mr. Morin, whatever that means. Yeah, the accused. Okay, I guess the rest is just going to be more legal stuff. We're going to skip this. Here in court, he's saying, I guess it's in court. This is words from himself. He says, "Nobody is going to talk about my mom here." That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's probably while he was being escorted, as they're saying here. All right, we're gonna skip the rest. It's just translating stuff that's not important. They just gave him 7 years, basically. That's where it ends, man. He got 7 years. BFM is definitely weakened. You only have the other party that you can, not in prison, but I mean out there. Looks like the cops really dismantled them hard. You just have to worry about Alboivin, the other half. Yeah, this is the same story, the same article. Well, not same article, same story here. I don't think we're going to learn anything. Yeah, exactly the same story. Okay, and the last story, guys, this is a surprise for me. We found out that Mr. Sollecito, I think he has cancer, but the thing is, he had it for a while now. This is not new. He didn't just catch it. He had it for a while. He's been getting sick. He's becoming more ill. He has people taking care of him. But the problem is, he's accused of the murder of Mr. Lopresti from 2011, amongst others. But it's for plotting, I guess, because he didn't do it himself. You know. Now, thing is, when you're sick, you can ask to be released if you're too damn sick. You know. And that's what he's doing. In the past, it worked. It actually worked in the past. And I was last time with you saying, well, he couldn't have been as sick as he is now. If he got off last time because he was sick, then, logically it follows that this time even more they will be willing to grant it to him. Well, imagine to my shock reading this here. Accused of murder, a mafioso will stay in prison despite his cancer. Sollecito was arrested in June for murders and plots of murders after the revelations of Frederick Silva. Gotcha. Well, we're not going to read all this if it's just exactly what the news story said. He's going to stay. Let's see what we got. His lawyer says his health is very fragile. During his arrest for gangsterism in Operation Magot Magot Massif in 2015, which is not the operation he's being arrested now. He has not been under arrest this whole time. Just to be clear for those who have no idea what's going on. This is a previous operation where Gregory Woolley got arrested. Hell's Angel Salvatore Casetta got arrested at that moment. And Leonardo Rizzuto also got arrested. It was a major operation, a big one. That's the one where Gregory Woolley was put in prison, and the interrogator filmed Gregory Woolley. Gregory Woolley wasn't saying a damn word, but the interrogator was trying to scare Gregory Woolley, telling him something that only him and Gregory Woolley know what it was about. But he was telling Gregory Woolley, basically, it was along the lines of, you effed up, basically. You made a lot of enemies because of all this. Things are going to turn against you, pal. This is it. This is your time. The sunshine and roses career you had, it's different now. I know you're screwed. That was Magot Mastiff around that era. So let's see what they're talking about for that. During his arrest for gangsterism in Operation Magot Mastiff in 2015, Mr. Sollecito was already suffering from cancer. A judge had then ordered his liberation during the procedures in court so that he can have treatments, they're saying here. He was finally acquitted 3 years later. Acquitted. However, today he will face new chiefs of accusations for first-degree murder of Lorenzo Lopresti. We reproach him equally of having plotted to commit the murders of mafiosos Giuseppe Renda, who vanished. That's my understanding, is they never saw him again. I'm a bit confused that they're saying that they're so sure of murder here. Well, I guess they have Frederick Silva telling them what happened. So it's going to be their word against that. Could they really charge you based on a word? Because if I recall, he vanished. Hope I'm not wrong here, but I seem to recall that. Then you got Moreno Gallo. Now, this one I did not speak about last time when it was listed. I just want to let you know, because I did fail to do that. My memory was not good. I was like, Moreno Gallo, I know him, but it wouldn't come. But it wasn't coming to mind. I just skipped through him quick. But remember, last year we had the Gallo son, whose wife got murdered. Remember, she was leaving her spa or beauty salon. She was a very beautiful mother. You saw her. She looks like a model. But she went to her car and she got killed right there. And then they arrested the shooter, who's some guy, some black kid, a kid, not like a 35-year-old adult male. In my opinion, those photos, he looks like a kid from Ontario. They hired out-of-towners to kill Gallo. I forgot what his, was it Anthony Gallo? I can't recall his first name. But that's the son of this Moreno Gallo right here. Now, you would think logically everything should follow. Everything should follow. So who did send out that hit that probably got messed up? We never had the answer to that officially in these newspapers. Well, I'm here today to tell you that the if you want to call him the father Gallo, or is that it, right? I think it was named. I'm assuming. I think the other guy was Anthony. This is Moreno Gallo. Well, the father Gallo from the Mafia wars was murdered. They're saying that Mr. Stefano Sollecito plotted his death. So, if this is true, why wouldn't the other one be true? Someone wants the son dead too, right? Obviously. And that's fresh news. That's about last year. It was big. So we might be getting an answer here. Although we sort of suspected it, but you don't want to jump the gun. But here you have something to help you make that decision. And then you got Antonio Vanelli. This is the name that does not pop to my head who he is, and I'm just too damn lazy to go and to do the Google right now to remember. Okay, who is this guy? Whatever. But the name Vanelli, it does ring a bell. Then we got Mr. Joseph Di Malo. This is a big name. So they plotted his death. He got shot in front of his place, I believe, during the second generation Mafia wars. Last time I said third generation, sometimes I confuse. It comes out of my mouth too fast, It's not what I'm. There's no third. It's second generation. This was second generation Mafia wars right here. Mr. Di Malo. And this would have been the higher up of the other side. In my opinion, it would be him. This guy goes back to the, I think, 60s with Vic Catroni and all them. This was huge. But this is suspected to be from the Rizzuto clan as a big FU, you betrayed us scenario when they tried to overtake the Sicilian faction in the second generation Mafia wars. Then you got Salvatore Montagna. That's the guy from the Bananos from New York. He actually was Canadian, I think. Don't know much about it, but he was Canadian, but he lived in the U.S. and then he was committing crimes, obviously, and they kicked him out. So then he had plans to come here, and he befriended Mr. Desjardins right here, and Desjardins is the underling of this guy right here, this big one here. You understand? So Salvatore came back and he allied himself with René Desjardins, and somewhere along the lines, none of them trusted each other. Someone was a snake, and then it was over. Their trust was broken for good, and now each one was suspicious. The other one was trying to backstab him and get him killed, and then take over. But the ultimate outcome is Reynald sent his friend. I forgot his name. His name's not coming to me. This was it Anglo name? Some for lack of better word, what's his name? Can I find his name? No, I won't remember his name. I definitely won't. But he's known as his best friend. I think it was his best friend. He sent him to go pick up Salvatore Montagna in the downtown area. Salvatore went to downtown. He parked his car. Then he got on board of another car. But then they drove somewhere far in the suburbs where he was supposed to meet Reynald Desjardins there. But it was a setup. They were going to kill him. Salvatore realized it. It was like the Soprano. I imagine if you could picture the scene, it looked a lot like some episodes of The Sopranos. You know when a guy, I forgot, I'm pretty certain I saw an episode like that where the two mobsters were in, it was like somewhere in the woods. I can't remember exactly the details, so long ago, but they were in the woods and they had just either they were completing a hit there, and they were in the middle of nowhere, and then they had to catch a ride or something like that. It looked a lot like a scene from there when they showed you the crime scene photos of the area where the setup was. Salvatore ran for his life. He survived. He thought he was going to survive. He ran away with I think a gunshot wound, and I don't know what happened, but he didn't survive that wound, and he fell in the river. And I think that's where they found him. They found him in the puddle of water, being carried or something like that by the flow. So that's how Salvatore Montagna ended. But I swear, if you look at the setup, it reminds you a lot of an episode of Sopranos. But keep going on the list. So you had the iron worker Salvatore Montagna. Didn't last long in Canada. Huh? Sorry to say, man, that's terrible. Canada's they say Canada is soft. At Canada, they make fun of us, But then when they sent their American, he didn't last very long here. Then the next story is Pietrantonio, Mr. Suzuki. I remember him. We covered it last year. This is an old name, too, a very old name. He comes up in other storylines from the early 2000s for sure. But the most recent one was someone tried to kill him. He was in the middle of downtown. The shooter came, and he may have wrestled with the shooter. I'm not too certain about the details. It was at least a year or 2 years ago. We read about this, so I can't remember. But for sure, he was ambushed downtown, and it didn't work out, and he survived. So who set that ambush up? Now they're telling you basically that Mr. Sollecito is being accused of plotting his murder. These are not random names. These are names in the case against him. He's got Giuseppe Renda, who's missing. Moreno Gallo, dead. Antonio Vanelli, can't comment. Joseph Di Molo, dead. Salvatore Montagna, dead. This one's a shocker for me because all the news reports was that Reynald set him up. So Reynald, that's like almost conclusive that he set it up, and I think Reynald even did time in prison for that one. So why is he being mentioned? Why is he being mentioned in a case against Mr. Sollecito? That's very intriguing. Perhaps Mr. Sollecito and them, they saw that Reynald and Salvatore were together, and they were plotting to have him killed anyways. Maybe that's why this accusation's being here. Because remember, he's being accused of one accusation of murder for Lorenzo Lopresti. That's it. That's all. The other ones must be the plotting of murders. So it's a different thing. They were plotting it. But remember, some of them are actually dead. Well, he was dead too, but it was more a case of him here. So, the second generation Mafia Wars, 2011 to 2019, man. It was crazy. Now, they're telling you, only Desjardins, Pietrantonio, and Vanelli have escaped death. Yeah, I guess we're not going to learn much today about anything. So, except Mr. Sollecito goes to court in September. But what's the news? He'll stay in prison, despite his cancer. They're not letting him go anywhere. They're like, screw that. Crazy, man. I really thought they could let go of someone who's ill and could just stay at home, But I guess now when you got these types of plots, all these names, they say, well, you didn't pull the trigger yourself. These are all you trying to get other people killed. So if we let you go home, you can do that freely. It doesn't require much. It requires a brain and a telephone. That's it. So I guess they said, no way. That's not, even if you're sick, you can't, not someone like you. Not this time. Not after all these new ones added to our suspicions of you. I guess it makes sense. Proven wrong here. Sorry, guys, I missed your messages, so I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to anymore. The train of thought is long gone for for me, but I'm still reading it because some of you will be able to understand it. Man in the middle says, "What do you think, Forger? They pay them to find out who's ratting, so to all the rats, just remember, you think they don't know, they know. Okay, he's talking about the police officer story, probably. Where is he? Yeah. The SQ officer who used the computers. Remember we talked about earlier. I'm pretty certain that's what Man in the Middle is talking about. That's it, man. That's it. And yeah, press a like for the algorithm, guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. Musa Talpio, I appreciate that, man. And yeah, I guess we're done for today. We'll end this one right here, and just trying to read, not miss anything out of respect. Hell, Mr. Green Thumb, hello. I think 501 Choppers is talking about the Sopranos. I think that's it. Huh? I think that's what you're talking about. I guess the episode name, maybe, or the area. It was Pine Barrens, he says, and he writes the Russian. I'm gonna YouTube that ish to see it, man, just to remember it. But I think that's what you're talking about. Shout out to Man in the Middle, Billy Gamel, Chris Hinsley, Marcel Mathers, Wes Dozer, who's not on the chat, but I just remembered you. I want to say shout out to Wes Dozer. I want to give a shout out to a bunch of people. Just it never comes on the spot. I even forget some words that I do know in English. I know them, but then when it's time for the show, I can't remember them on the spot. I'm not one who functions well like that, Under pressure, on the spot, I forget. My memory goes blank. But don't think that because I didn't say your name, that I forgot you exist. Absolutely not. You know who you are. I want to say thank you. Shout out, but right now these are the names that are here on the chat, so I can read them. Shout out to Chris Hinsley too, Will Hildebrand, Pollock, Daniel Gould, Triple N, Ryan C, 518 Choppers, New York, Mossad Talpio, 8200, Mr. Green Thumb from Ottawa, and you too, Silent One, especially you, man. Thank you so lot. Thank you for being here. Have a great evening. Enjoy your weekend, guys. I appreciate you.